Hi, welcome back to my 180-day idea challenge. And today we are talking about 10 business ideas that kids could do on a summer afternoon that are not lemonade stands. This is a very interesting proposal. I don't have kids myself, and I never sold lemonade when I was a kid myself. In fact, it was only when I started studying that I did some extra job, and that was basically teaching other students. So that challenged me a little bit. But I try to think about where's the demand, what do people not want to be bothered with in the summer, and also these are all ideas that you have to be able to execute in an easy way. It can't be too complex. On the other hand, kids nowadays grow up with technology, so they are much more savvy. In the chapter in Become an Idea Machine, examples were like they could set up a Twitter account for $2 or program the Wikipedia page for $10, right? Uh, many things that are maybe a little bit more even difficult for me to do online, an 8-year-old can probably do better than me, right? I think from that position, I thought about some ideas, and here's the list of 10 that I came up with. As I said, it's a great practice for you to just think about where's an acute demand and what can you do in very easy steps. And of course, feel free to use any of these ideas for yourself, even though it's not summer anymore. And even though most of you are not kids that watch this, I suppose. But if you are or you're not, just go right ahead if you think one of these ideas is cool and interesting. And let me know. So here's the list. Number one is similar to what I already mentioned. That would be create someone's web page or an Instagram account. People give kids their pictures and texts, and then the kids put it together in form of web page. You can do that easily with WordPress, right? And putting together an Instagram account, maybe even offering to update the account daily, is actually something that a kid can pretty easily do, especially in summer holidays where they have a lot of time and no extra school. Number two, create business newsletters. So local businesses, it would be great if they had like newsletters where they can reach clients online, right? It's an alternative to handing out flyers, right? So you have a web page. Maybe you can even advertise in your business that you now have an online presence. People check it out, and hopefully your online presence is people are able to check that quickly out on their cell phone. So they stand in front of your small business, see that you are online. They whip out their phone, type your address in, and then sign up for a newsletter. And businesses could even have like some of these 2D barcodes. I don't know the extra name for those, but you know what I mean, right? The square codes that have these patterns, and then they can scan it in with their iPhone, and then that would automatically let them sign up for their business newsletter, right? So that would be the work on the side of a shop. But then kids could go and offer to create these business newsletters, right? And so you could maybe not an 8-year-old kid is maybe not really able to put strings of words together to sentences that make sense. But a 12-year-old kid can do that, and then the 8-year-old can actually assemble the graphics and put the whole extra extra sections together to the newsletter. And then the 10-year-old can take care of the complete email list. And yeah, as I said, the 12-year-old can write the text or something like that, right? And then kids can do the newsletter. And there's usually a lot of shops in the local neighborhood, so there would be a lot of customers potentially. And they can either have like a little stand where they invite people to sign up, or to give them to when they invite shop owners to like put their information down, or they could just walk from store to store, and once you have that, then they could be paid a certain royalty or certain commission from each profit the shop owner gains from the newsletter, or whatever other payment is possible, right? Number 3, pimping out work. So not every neighbor has a lawn to mow, and not every neighbor that has a lawn to mow does not have a neighbor kid who can or wants to do it, right? So if you're an entrepreneurial minded kid, you could actually use your contacts from school to put your classmates to work. Or you have a stand in your neighborhood, right? Or you have a homepage where kids and adults both can sign up, and for any lawn mowing job or shopping job or whatever, and you take a commission of each rate. So the advantage would be that the neighbors already put down what they would pay the kid, like let's say $10 an hour, and then the kid goes and the kid signs up as well, and you take a cut. I mean, the neighbor gets his lawn mowed. The kid who mows the lawn gets instead of $20 for 2 hours, it gets $16 for 2 hours, and you get $4 commission. And there's not just like one neighbor who needs a lawn to be mown, right, and shopping to be done. There's, I don't know, how many people live in a small neighborhood. Let me guess, like, let's say 1,000 people, and maybe 100 of them have lawns to mow and stuff like that. And they do that on an ongoing base. Let's see, it's live calculation. And I imagine, let's say, like, one neighbor needs to have his lawn mowed or shopping done, like, or any of these chores done every 2 weeks, right? So he's a reliable kid that does it, works 2 hours or like 1 hour per week on average for this neighbor. So he gets like $10. And so one kid would work through summer, 3 months, 12 weeks, would get like $120 worth paid. 120, and then you take 20% commission. So the kid would get $96. You get $24 from 3 months of work. And if you do that with more kids, let's say you have 10 neighbors only that do that, you already earn like $240, which is actually not bad for a little kid. And you have more than 10 neighbors, you hustle a bit, you get like a couple thousand for your summer activity, taking commissions for like mediating work. And it can be done on a very local level. You don't have the necessarily competition from Craigslist, because with Craigslist, the disadvantage is you don't know who's working for you, right? You don't know who you hire. But if a kid from the neighborhood does it, or maybe you make your business, and if you're the kid, you visit all your customer at once, and you live close by, they know where you live. That's a whole different level than having like some anonymous people hiring from Craigslist, right? I mean, if I was a neighbor, I need my lawn mowed, I'd rather have a local kid that lives 2 blocks away from me, or like down the block, that that can bring me some reliable workers that will get my lawn mowed. And that kid has an interest that the job gets done, because that kid earns a commission. So win-win-win. Neighbor gets the lawn mowed, the lawn mowing kid gets the money, and the guy who enables the deal gets a commission. Then number 4 would be like a classic, has been always around: sell baseball cards or toys or license plates or whatever else gets collected, right? So you can collect them, you can buy them, sell them, and make money that way. Idea number 5, business number 5, homework ghostwriting. Okay, I know maybe kids are supposed to do their homework alone. However, what works best on a summer afternoon? Enjoying the sun, right? If you was a kid, you would rather give your cash allowance to your friends. They do the homework for you, right? And just take maybe one ice cream less and still being able to go to the beach. Maybe morally a little bit, not the best, but hey, I mean, who am I to judge? So that's a business as well. Ghostwriting. And big companies do it all the time. They have ghostwriting. Lots of authors have ghostwriters, so it's an idea. Homework ghostwriting. Number 6, comic book library. And that's kind of funny because, so, um, when I grew up, comic books were like very important. There was no computers. And I sound like a very old person now. Son, when I was your age, we didn't have computers or the internet. But in fact, we had comics, like real comics, like comic books. And I still remember when I visited some friends and they had a whole collection of the Walt Disney comic books. So that was like fantastic. I would sit down and read for hours on their attic with friends as well. And so the idea is to have to just rent out your comic books, right? You can have people pay you. They can read it directly on the attic for cheaper, or they can take it home, bring them back the next day for a little more expensive fee. Or actually, you can make it for free when people come, and when they want it, so they read the comics. Yeah, perfect. So they come to your place or your garage, and they can read the comics for free. And when they then need to go home because the curfew starts, but they are certainly not done with all these lovely comics. They can take some comics home with them for a little fee. And that would be actually a very good model because you also offer something for free. I found it kind of weird because what I remember was that we exchanged books, right? Hey, I have this comic book, so I read that, and but I can give you that comic book if you haven't read that yet. So right, we didn't charge each other. We just exchanged books. So one idea is that you can still charge if some kids want to take comics home with them. But who reads comics nowadays? Who reads comic books? Kids don't read comics books anymore. And I just checked it online if that's true. Yeah, kids don't read comic books anymore. Their parents do. And actually, there was several persons said online that they saw the only times they saw kids in a comic book store was when their daddy was there and getting comic books for himself. So then the son would get some as well for himself, which I found funny. Because when I grew up, comic books were frowned upon. Yeah, my parents would tell me read something. Actually, my mother would tell me read something. Read something more worthy, like a book, right? But now that has completely changed, right? So, so I thought, like, man, I don't think kids read comics anymore. Like adults read them. And then I thought, yeah, and I wouldn't really want to charge. If I was a kid, I wouldn't really want to charge the other kids. Um, and then I realized, hey, the adults will pay to borrow them, right? So I can charge adults to borrow comic books. So especially some comics that are over a certain amount of time, I'll have more comics than I have more of the rarities, and comic stores are not always available if you don't live in a big city. So there's demand, and you could make it like a Netflix subscription, right? So you basically borrow comic book, read as long as you want, and send it back. And nowadays, these things exist. Script has a subscription to books that you can borrow books. Um, and there's also other companies that do like the same Netflix model but for comics. But they all have digital comics to download to stream to your Kindle or your iPad. So what if you could offer the real book versions of the comics? So maybe there's a market for that, and that would be something a kid could start a business. I mean, I believe that kids accumulate a lot of comics, must still be the case over the year. So there would be something. They would probably have it. They would probably have the comics that adults are looking for. Number 7, installing wireless networks. So as I mentioned in 9th of November, um, when I talked about apps that would be cool to have. So I thought about a neighborhood app, right, where you connect to the people in your neighborhood directly. If you need somebody to fix your table, then Bob the carpenter, he can come right by, and through this app you know where these people are. So if you have a wireless network, if you're a kid and you offer to install a wireless network, you could have something similar to that. So what you could do is actually you install the wireless network, which is often just anyone can do it, but basically you can organize it as a kid in this matter of convenience. What you could do is you could have several houses that are close by share a router and have a common network, and then you can organize some Word documents and Excel documents and share them via Google Documents, and then have people write on these documents what they learned and what they can offer the services. And then if you need a service, you can check the document and see, there's somebody who offers to do carpentry. And so then you could say, hey, could put in the document, hey, I have this Bob the carpenter, I have this, I have my table, the leg is broken, you need somebody to fix it, and Bob the carpenter reads it and just drops by. Very easy, and that can be then maybe can't scale it that easily, because if you're a kid and your next neighborhood is maybe not that large that you can install a lot of networks, but once you do that, people will trust you, and then they maybe let you program their webpage for them. So it's maybe also an entryway into more lucrative jobs. In the same vein, buying, selling, and repairing computers or electronics in general. My chemistry teacher, high school chemistry teacher, 20 years ago, suggested exactly that. Well, he suggested to study chemical engineering and be a brewery art. You can do that in Germany. And then to go to Singapore and start a German brewery. That's what he suggested. Not bad suggestions, but he also suggested to have a repair service, right? A 24/7 repair service for computers. And for a kid could actually do that. Maybe when school starts, it can't be 24/7 anymore. But man, if a kid can come by and fix your computer, and often what needs to be done is like clean the fan for laptops sometimes, right? And it's not too easy to do that, but a kid has the time to just like really get into that and do it maybe easily. And other things that are maybe just like very easy to fix, but when you have a job and you don't have family, you don't want to spend endless time searching for a solution online. So you just call the neighborhood kids. They do the service, so you sign up to their service, pay a monthly subscription fee, and then they come by and fix your computer around the clock. Or at least at the very same day. That certainly beats take my computer and take it to the next Apple store, to the Genius bar there, and then it takes 2 weeks until they've done the computer, right? So in the same vein, kids could buy and sell used computers, right? So you don't need to advertise your used computer on Craigslist, where you have to wait forever until somebody buys it, or on eBay. No, you sign up for the local neighborhood kid, and the neighborhood kid comes, picks up the used computer, pays you for it, and then has a collection of computers after a while in his basement, And when anyone needs a used computer, he goes to the kid. And the kid has, of course, made sure that the computer still works, has done some basic maintenance on the hard drive and everything. So you get a used computer in pristine condition, and the kid has taken care of it, so it's in good condition. For example, when my iPad was stolen a couple of months ago, I bought a new iPad, but I didn't really see the need to upgrade an iPad, so I just bought the same model from eBay, and yeah, that was I got it pretty quickly, but still, I can probably get a better deal if I just get it from the neighborhood, or sometimes there's not a used computer available that you get so easily. So you can trust the kid more that has assembled some computers and has a neighborhood computer store. Um, that would actually be that. I wonder whether that wouldn't be a good business for um, for for a kid. All right, that was number 8. Number 9, pet daycare. So some people go to the holiday, and then where should they bring their pet, right? And some people have to work, and so they don't want to have their dog be alone at home all the time. Well, if a kid has, if the parents have allowed the kid to use their property, they can install a dog run and basically rent out the use of that dog run, right? So throw in some toys, and then have people bring their dogs and pets there, either for like several weeks in a row, like a weekend, or just for an afternoon. And there are several other dogs there, so the dogs are happy and playing. And if there's too many dogs to handle, the kid can actually ask their friends from school. And I mean, come on, who you don't really have to do much convincing to have someone take care of pets. And you can rent out space on your property if that's possible for a dog run. It's and yeah, I mean, you let people pay for that, um, and if you do that, and you can basically um, pay somebody who scoops up the shit that the dogs will leave. Um, but other than that, that's a almost completely passive business, right? Yeah, somebody needs to watch over the dogs, but that's somebody you easily get somebody for doing that. Um, and otherwise, you just rent your parents' property out. It's it's very simple. You don't need to do much. Um, and yeah, that's that. And like another connection business would be, I call it generational business. Um, so people that are older, they often have a great relationship with their grandchildren. So young and old, if there's like a generation in between, they are vibing well. And so young kids can learn from grandparents, and grandparents will be happy to have younger kids around. So the kids can play with shopping, play games with them, and so on and so forth. Um, the kid can make a web page, an online subscription service, or you pay on a case by case base. So the kids can ask their friends from school and from the neighborhood that they know well, and then they can just connect the trustworthy kids with some of the older people that have signed up to their page, and they just get money for the service. As I said, you can make this web page a subscription service or let people pay on a case by case base. That certainly beats that certainly beats putting people into an old folks home, right? Because it's extraordinarily expensive, and it's often not half as personal as when you have like like a nice kid around for an afternoon at least, right? That's often what helps all the people already. I mean, their own children don't come that often to visit, and you know, and an old person has like a younger kid around that will help them in the household, and just pay them, how do you call it, just be social with them. That's perfect, and that can be a business, bringing the grandparents and the young generation together. So if the parents help the kids a little bit with setting up a web page and that kind of stuff, the kid does the heavy lifting, which is asking friends in school or in the neighborhood if they would be willing to do that. And then, yeah, they can make that a business. And that can be a good practice for afterwards. If somebody is really more socially inclined, um, he could then build up the business to have like a real connection between old and young, sort of like the Big Brother principle, right? The Big Brother agency where you can have like can be a big brother to a younger orphan or something like that, right? You can basically have like bringing old folks and young kids together. Same principle, and that's a valuable service. You put people together. All power to you. Okay, so those were my 10 ideas. Let me know if you have some additional ideas. Feel free to peruse any of these ideas, and if you do, let me know how it went. I'm happy to having talked to you today, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again tomorrow. All the best, sleep well, and I wish you a great weekend that will be soon approaching. Take care.